I'll take mine with 2 lumps of sugar. Hey, I am Chuck the bureaucrat, and recently someone made a comment about how colonels fetch coffee in the Pentagon. And I thought I'd take a second to explain that phenomenon, because in addition to sounding strange, the truth behind it is even stranger. Just to vouch for this behavior, long time ago, I was a junior major in the Pentagon doing manpower analysis, and I got tangled up with a bunch of G3 types who were trying to develop a strategy for how to rotate soldiers into and out of Iraq. And now, the G3 shop, they had a colonel and a lieutenant colonel, but more importantly, they had this captain, some golden boy. Maybe he was brilliant, but he was certainly far more influential than his rank would have suggested. Anyways, the G3 guys drag me along to some meeting where the captain is going to explain things to a 2-star. And at the start of the meeting, the general has his chief of staff, a colonel, go get a cup of coffee for the general and the captain. What? Well, over the years, I have learned that there is a fascinating dynamic behind this whole colonels get coffee phenomenon. To see what's going on, it's important to recognize that broadly speaking, there are 2 types of colonels in the Pentagon. One group is working in the front office. These are XOs and chief of staff or special assistants. The second group of colonels work down the hall. These are usually directors who manage a portion of the general's staff and that focus on a piece of the general's portfolio. But probably the most important difference between these 2 groups of colonels is the direction that their career is headed. Those front office colonels are much more likely to one day become general officers. And meanwhile, those colonels down the hall are more likely to be terminal colonels who are just wrapping up 28 years of service. As a result, those front office colonels will often sit in on meetings with their general officers to start learning the fine art of being a GO. They learn what issues matter, they learn how to handle technical action officers, and they listen to the inside chatter between the generals. So while the front office colonels are important and they do hard work, they're also students. They're not entirely necessary, and they might be just a little bit superfluous. So sometimes they go and get coffee. The down-the-hall colonels, they almost never get coffee because the only reason they're allowed in the front office is to deliver their brief and get out. But the funny twist of this is that those down-the-hall colonels, the directors, the ones who don't get coffee, well, they also almost never have a follow-on assignment that takes them back out to the field and exposes junior officers to their wisdom. Instead, it's those front office colonels who will find themselves in an OPD full of young majors who ask questions like, "What did you do at the Pentagon?" And the response will be, "Well, I brought the general his coffee." It's a self-deprecating story that covers what they were really doing. And so you end up with a whole bunch of majors and lieutenant colonels who are like, "Well, I don't want to go to the Pentagon because I don't want to have to go get coffee for the general." Oh, my sweet summer child, you could only dream of getting the general his coffee. If we bring you to the Pentagon, we're going to chain you to a desk and have you breaking PowerPoint rocks 12 hours a day. And when you finally collapse of exhaustion, we'll use your tears to refill the printer cartridge. Anyways, the Pentagon is a strange place. And if you want to understand some of the strange people who work there, watch these videos.